Hi, my name is Lisa Brody, and everybody watches accesstv.org. Peace.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it like this. Ba-boom. Ba-boom. Do it like that. Yeah. Ba-boom.
Yes, this is Jonathan Small doing the Small Report. Today is July the 31st, the last day of the month. Within the next week, we're going to be doing a live over the internet format on accesstv.org of the Small Report at 12 o'clock noon. So hopefully everybody out there throughout the country could always tune in. Today, I pretty much want to get started on my format for my program, basically the real world versus the dream world. And over the past couple of programs, I kind of mentioned the differences in society. We have urban America comparable to suburban America. Many people might look at the dream world and the real world as two different worlds that exist in society and might not be able to completely identify the differences. The dream world can pretty much be anything that you perceive in your mind that you should be able to obtain. The real world is dealing what exists directly in front of you. And many people can't separate the differences between the dream world and the reality world that exists. And sometimes you try to put yourself from the real world into the dream world in many different levels. Putting yourself from the dream world into the reality world might be something that you can do if you choose to do. I'm trying to break everything down because in America and throughout the world, we have a lot of different disparities and different inequities that exist in our society. Suburban America is kind of considered the American dream, where you own the home, you have the big land space, you have the good schools, you have the low crime, you have all of the recreational facilities, you have the amenities, you have the community mobilization pretty much intact. Urban America has kind of been classified as a concentration of a large segment of populations, close proximity of housing, schools sometimes not fairly properly educating students, public safety usually is a major problem, crime, high taxes. In the beginning stages of society, America was kind of built on your cities, and pretty much that's where the base of your population moved into. About in the same period of 1947, you had the first suburban area developed in New York, and that was kind of the starting point going into the 50s of building suburban America, where many people that used to live directly in the city started to move out into the suburbs. Then you had the interstate highway system that was established or started in 1956 by Dwight Eisenhower, and pretty much that kind of spurred the development from that period of time. And you have different ethnic races that have tried to now move out of the suburban, or move out to the suburban world, which is really directly right outside your cities. The dream aspects is that many people in society and life sometimes can't fulfill their true destiny. They can't seem to get the type of job or career that they perceive. They can't seem to get the type of home, the relationships, the quality of life. And if they can't get it in a reality sense, then they try many times to get it in a dream sense. But it's not even always a dream sense. You have a lot of people in our society who realize they're not going to ever have the type of career and goals and fulfillment that they really feel they would desire for many different reasons. So that sometimes they try to actually force it. When you have a lot of men, and particularly not graduating from high school and falling into the traps that exist in society, they watch the images of the hip hop stars which is way more advanced technology-wise with the images because of what you have on television. Even last night, I actually like one of my favorite programs, Love Hip Hop Atlanta, showing the good style of down south in the ATL, where you go to Midtown, you go to Buckhead, you see all the celebrities, the entertainers, and it promotes, you know, a good crunk style for their style of hip hop down there, and blends with different people throughout the country. But they're not showing the Bankhead sections of Atlanta. They're not showing the south side of Atlanta, where you have a lot of elements that don't fulfill that particular images. Media can do that. They can perceive the finished product and give you whatever side of the picture that they would like to give you. Nationally, I want people to kind of get the common factors that in urban America pretty much is always going to be based with a large segment of people concentrated close together, and suburban America is always going to be spread out in different developments. Some places can kind of blend both together, urban and suburban. Actually, in Atlanta, right outside, you have Sandy Springs, which built themselves from part of Atlanta to a city through annexation, and they still have the suburbanness that exists because they're about 15 miles directly outside of the base of the ATL in Atlanta. And they have the good schools, they have the big homes, they have the space, they have the businesses, they have everything that you want in urban America, but they don't deal with the hard crime and drugs and killings and poverty that you deal with directly in the urban side. It could be an ugly picture sometime to face reality now when there's nothing that you can do about it. Here locally in Hartford, we're about to try to select in the process of a new police chief. And many people think this is the right person that's gonna get our city fixed, deal with the shootings, with the shooting task force, deal with the crime, the killings, the neglect. But we've had many police chiefs here in Hartford and probably throughout the country that come in for 4 to 5 years. Actually, that's the issue right now. He has a 4-year contract, police chief or intern police chief James Ravella. He has to have 5 years to get the contract implemented where he can have the health coverage for life because he has some health issues. And that's a sticking issue through the city council that they're going to be looking at in the very near future. But, you know, yesterday, actually, even locally on another program, we got a problem here in Keeney Park where a lot of men go up there throughout the daytime, and it's a marijuana spot near the cricket field. Dealing, usage, some other illegal vending. So one of the good hosts, Kevin Brookman, which is a very knowledgeable person, kind of brought to the light of what's going on out there. And I actually had to call in and tell them, you know, even if you move the problem of marijuana dealing and usage out of Keeney Park, because you want your parks to be well clean and well, you know, prosperous and a good image for your young kids to be able to interact and play, that doesn't mean that the problem is not going to be going someplace else. What is the root reasons why men feel they have to sell marijuana and people feel like they have to use marijuana? When you get towards those solutions, then you're kind of getting more towards reality. When you are trying to say, we don't want the problem here, you can deal with your problem someplace else. We're not trying to really fix the problem. So the problem continues to exist. And then the people actually are in the dream world realizing that, hey, I can still get the nice car that I want. I can still have the nice clothes that I want. I'm not going to be able to work for it to get the type of job or business opportunities that are perceived, but I'm going to use my street knowledge of being able to buy a product like marijuana and sell it, buy it at a low price, sell it at a high price, and take the risk that comes along with it. I don't believe here right now we have the will to want to fix the problem from where it exists at. You know, try to get at the root causes of the problems more than trying to deal with the symptoms of the problem. They've had 2 major busts in Keeney Park over the past 2 years, busted about over 30 suspects. And then I went out there the next day and saw the same group of cars out there probably doing the same thing. Even 2 winters ago, when I thought with all of the snow that we had here, there was no way December, January, Keeney Park would be jam-packed with cars, doing whatever that they're doing. I happened to drive through that park one particular winter time, and I was kind of shocked when I saw the same 20 cars out there, whatever that they was doing. Because if you have the mindset that you can get up in the morning time, go into a local park all day, probably not going to keep your car running, burning up gas, and be cramped up inside the car waiting for its job, waiting for its sale, then you have something to offer as an entrepreneur that you're just not being targeted in the right direction. There is a way that you can kind of close the gap of suburban and urban structures. Not an easy task to do. The dream aspect of trying to get people out of the dream mentality into the reality mentality, I think as long as you have substances like drugs and alcohol and images that you see, pornography, gambling, trying to get rich, that's going to always keep your mindset probably looking for the dream world. I might be lucky for life, get the quick scratch off, get $1,000 a day now, and I'm set for life. I don't have to worry about having to look for a job. My money is working for me. I think, unfortunately, if we don't have anything as a society to counteract what's being thrown at you, utilizing the vices of pornography, illegal gambling, drug abuse, and alcohol, then that's going to always keep the dream aspects in place. The reality aspects of in life, of getting a good education, getting good training, networking, trying to develop yourself and be persistent and take it one step at a time, is the reality aspect. Trying to go from point A to Z without going through A, B, C, and D. That's the reality part. Not being able to deal with going A, B, C, D, trying to get from A to Z, that's trying to get into the dream aspect. I want to get everything that I can the way I want to do it, and I can't deal with going through the base routine that exists out here. So trying to challenge people on an individual basis might be the easy process. You get into what we've done in our school systems, trying to develop magnet schools, taking a select few people, the brightest, grouping those people together, putting some type of new academy school where they can be developed, but leaving that base of the 60% that's going to always be stuck in the middle. Your 20%, your top educated, your top skilled people, they're going to always be able to advance no matter what the circumstances exist. And then your bottom 20, you're going to always have, that's going to always be your hardened criminals, your clowns, your goof-offs. So what do you do with the 60%? I think since I graduated in 1989, it's gotten a lot worse. Even as bad as it was in the late 80s, I can't recall too many teenagers being gunned down like you see in our country. It's even dropping beyond teenagers now. You got adolescent children being killed through no fault of their own. So many people don't know how to deal with reality. It's not an easy topic to address. There was even one police chief down in New Orleans when they had a crime spree this past year, and a little child got gunned down innocently through some, I think it was an AK-47 weapon. He basically said that it's a subject in our country that we just don't want to deal with. When you had the natural disaster in New Orleans and you had 1,000 people perish, and people wondered how come it took 4 days for the country to go down to New Orleans and give aid to the people. That's the reality. We weren't prepared. We weren't taking the measures and proper accordance the way it needed to be done. And these people were learning how to survive all of their life. It just happened that everything came down all at one time. I don't know if everybody can always function in a reality-based mindset. You probably give them certain things that they can obtain. They can probably deal with reality a lot better. But I think right now we're going to continue to have the dream world and the reality world, urban world and suburban world. When you can find a mechanism to close that gap a lot closer, or shrink it, or try to blend a reality mindset to people and try to push away some of the dream world. Nothing wrong with dreaming. Always have a plan to go along with your dreams. So I think in the very near future, I'm going to try to address some more controversial issues. Maybe every now and then have a important guest. We have a lot of elections this up and coming year that's going to be running towards the end of the year, and kind of give their perspectives on urban and suburban America and dream and reality world that exists. And I hope one day I can kind of be committed towards the total reality world and have the dream world working just as a dream, but have a plan directly in place. So until the next time we do the small report, I would like everybody to have a good day.
Let's do it.